사진을 계속 실시간으로 옮기고 보고 계시거든요. 직원으로도 올리트에서 바로가 영상이나.
선배님 혹시 칼 있으세요? 이거 저희 램프 풀어야 되는데 이거 지금 안 풀어가지고 칼 손대.
알겠어. 누가 중간부터 커버할 거고 내가 또 가로 왔다고. 걱정 마.
앵클 같이 갖고 가려고. 어딨냐? 됐나? 디스밴드다. 오케이. 자, 갑시다.
Okay, comrades, now we're gonna start.
We're gonna move.
You're gonna move right here. In this
그냥
way.
여기는 그냥 시작 아니다. 시작 아니다고.
Okay,
누가 시작하라고?
come here.
아까 공연장에서 말씀하신 링크 올리기.
네, 따라오시면 됩니다. 시작할게요, 행진. 여기서 정확하게 시작하는 건 아니고 저 끝에서 시작하겠습니다.
Op die rekentoestel, daar moeten we heel even wachten op de verkeerregelaar. Ja? Zo. Maar die verkeerregelaars die komen.
Zijn er niet.
Dus we gaan gewoon.
Nee, ik wil even namaken.
Doe even. Dat moet even voor de. Ja, laat ze gewoon voorbij de bus lopen. Dan,
행진이 아니에요. 참 어떡해요. 네.
엄마가
제 걸음 속도에 따라와 주시고요.
We'll group at the corner.
야, 여기서.
일렬이 빠르게
움직여주셔야 돼요.
Good. Yeah.
선배님 여기서 우선 멈추라고 하는데 이렇게
사진 한번 찍고. 잠깐 멈췄다가 최대한 앞으로 빼줘. 최대한 앞으로 빼줘. 깍두기 이렇게 하고. 좀 빼주세요. 더 빼주세요. 더 뺄게요. 잠깐 멈추겠습니다. 잠깐 멈추겠습니다. 스탑 시도인데 좀. 그리고
Ik zou tegen u zeggen dat ze wat rustiger rijden. Kijk.
깍두기
Disband NATO! 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 Disband NATO!
Als je zover bent, dan kunnen we.
Yep.
Ja, kunnen we doen.
찰팀이 실어주세요. 자식이요. 찰팀 실어주세요. 오 계속 외치세요.
Thomas, please stick root front.
찰팀 실어줘. 네.
Disband NATO!
혹시 찍었어?
Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO!
찰팀
Disband NATO!
끝났습니다.
Disband NATO!
Even lopen. Dus gaan we. Wij dus een demonstratie gaan. Dus we moeten gewoon even aanpassen.
자 출발합니다. 뭐 계속 외쳐요.
Okay,
멈추지 말고.
now we start to march. Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! We chant again. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Down with NATO. Disband NATO. Down with NATO. Disband NATO. Down with NATO. Okay, say again. Disband NATO! Disband NATO! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Occupation no more! Israel is a fascist state! Occupation no more! Israel is a fascist state! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now NATO is expanding into Asia, threatening China, Russia, Korea, turning Pacific into the next battlefield of Third World War. No to NATO, no to 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 war. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Stop bombing Iran. Stop bombing Iran. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Down with NATO. Down with NATO. The next NATO summit will be held in this city, The Haag. We really need to shout against NATO and against imperialist war provoked by NATO. Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Hands off Iran! Hands off Iran! Hands off Iran! Hands off Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Disband NATO! 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 Disband
We give our revolutionary greetings to all of the justice people in this land. We give our praises to all the organizers for peace and justice. We want to thank our comrades who are in uniform, who understand that they're with the working flag and on the side of justice, and that we are struggling for humanity. Not only for the people in The Hague, not only for the people in the Netherlands, not only for the people in Europe, but the peoples of Africa, the peoples of Asia, the peoples of the Americas, the North, the South, the Central, and all the islands of the world. We're struggling for humanity. There's a running thing in humanity right now called imperialism. Down with imperialism. There's a running thing in this world called capitalism. Down with capitalism. It's a type of slavery which makes us work and they get all the benefits. And we die of hunger, of poverty, of diseases that can be cured because of a few greedy people who are not really people, they're anti-people. Down with the anti-people. And they're trying to cover up our eyes. They think that we're stupid, but we see the light. We have stuttered, and we're working for humanity. And we will not allow a few greedy anti-people to kill humanity, to destroy the atmosphere, to destroy the climate, to destroy the education system, to destroy the health system, only for their bellies. Down with them. And we will not allow their armed wing called NATO to take the poorest of the poorest, to put in the armies of England, of Spain, of Portugal, of all the United States, of all these different forces, to take them out to back for their own belly, for the all of the people. We will not allow this. So we come here today with peace for justice, to say no to war, no to war, no to imperialism, no to the armed wing of imperialism called NATO, the alliance of the terrorists in the world. We're struggling for justice, and we praise all the people who wake up your eyes and come with us. We're together. We're the children of the land. We're struggling for justice. We're struggling for the truth, so that humanity can be free, so that all the babies that are born will be able to have any type of barrier in front of them, so they can have a good education, good health, and everybody can be employed, and humanity can go forward. To do that, we have to organize. We have to organize. If you're not a part of organization, unfortunately, you're not a part of the solution. So we ask you to raise up your consciousness, to do like the greatest people in the world, to be part of an organization that's working for humanity. To be part of an organization that's fighting against the enemies of humanity. To be part of an organization to come to unify together. To be part of an organization so we can learn with each other. So we can bring humanity forward. And to get rid of this robotic thing called imperialism. This robotic thing called Zionism. We want to take people's land. To make people to destroy people. So comrades, brothers and sisters, all of you listening, and those who might see us on social media, understand that we are the children of the land, and we want you to join together, all of us join together to organize so we can overthrow those fuel-bleeding pigs. Where's the pigs? I've been hurt without my pigs. Throw those greedy forces that think that they thinking, that think they can control our world. We got to get rid of them. The only way to do that is by organization, with consciousness, with no fear. Down with fear. Down with fear. We don't fear anything. The only thing we're afraid of is not to work for our people, to not be a part of the solution. So we thank you. Ready for the revolution. Down with NATO. NATO will be destroyed. The imperialism will be destroyed. And we'll be a part of those forces to destroy them. Long live socialism! Long live socialism! Long live the people's humanity!
Long live people's humanity! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Next speaker is from Yugoslavia.
Oh, he wasn't.
NATO killers, go, go!
must chant so they can hear us, so they can hear the small Muslims protesting against them. NATO killers go home! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free! Any response?
Palestine.
Okay. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Hands off Palestine!
Hands off Palestine!
Hands off Iran!
Hands off Iran!
Hands off Russia!
Hands off Russia!
Hands off Korea!
Hands off Korea!
Hands off Africa!
Hands off Africa!
Hands off the whole world! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
People united will never be defeated!
The people united will never be defeated!
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido!
Be careful because traffic is coming from the other
El
direction.
pueblo unido jamás será vencido! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free Kononovich brothers! Free George Abdallah!
Free Georgie Abdallah!
Free all political prisoners!
Free Palestine!
Disband NATO!
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 NATO killers go home!
NATO killers go home!
NATO killers go home!
NATO killers go home!
Stop the new Cold War! NATO killers go home!
NATO killers go home!
Stop the new Cold War! NATO killers go home! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Hands off Palestine!
Hands off Palestine!
Stop bombing Iran!
Stop bombing Iran!
1, 2, 3, 4, Israeli aggression no more! 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a terrorist state. Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home! NATO killers go home!
NATO
Disband NATO! Disband NATO!
Okay, comrades, let's chant together. Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with the NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with the NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with the NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with the NATO! Down with the NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Israel is a fascist state! Israel is a fascist state! Stop bombing Iran! Stop bombing Iran! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Stop bombing Iran! 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 Disband NATO! 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 Disband NATO!
Daar eindigt voor het monument.
Down with NATO!
Zal dan
Down
de
with
motor uitrijden.
NATO! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO!
마이크 어딨어?
Speakers is to stay in the middle of the banner. Speakers is to stand in the middle of the banner. Speakers has to stand in the middle of the banner.
빨리 걷어.
Congress, the speaker has to be stand.
Ja, ja. Zoveel mogelijk. Ook al met te weinig mensen. Ja, dat lijkt me.
Stop bombing Iran! 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 Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! From the river to the sea. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Down with 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 NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Down with imperialism. Down with imperialism. Down with NATO. Down with NATO. Disband 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 NATO. Stop bombing Iran. Stop bombing Iran. Stop bombing Iran. Stop bombing Iran. Down with the terrorism leader. Down with the terrorism. Down with NATO. Down with NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO. Disband NATO.
Oké.
Disband
Nee, ja,
NATO.
Hij heeft thee, met de dingen zo gelopen en afgepakt.
Disband NATO.
Zeker.
Now we start the red anti-imperialist choice struggle. The first speech is anti-imperialist former resistance
Ja,
Iedereen heeft die ring zo. Als je gebeld wordt, kijkt iedereen.
Ja, hoi. Ik ben een demonstratie verzeild geraakt. Maar ik, sorry, ik ga zo terug. Hoe gaat het met Nina?
The people who oppose the war propaganda of their own countries for over 100 years have been smeared as traitors. But we are not here because we hate our countries. We are here because we love our countries and we don't want our countries to be destroyed in war. I'm not here because I hate Europe or because I love Russia, but because I understand that it is better for my country and for Europe to work together with Russia because we share a continent and not to wage war with Russia. It is better for Ukraine if Europe cooperates with Russia because if Europe fights Russia, then Ukraine is the battlefield. But if Europe works together with Russia economically, in terms of security, then Ukraine will be a hub for the trade. Only through cooperation as a continent, economic cooperation, can we improve our living standards? Can we improve our industry? Can we beat back financialization and deindustrialization? And can we finally have victory over imperialism? No, only by defeating imperialism can we bring this about. So fighting imperialism is not a matter of betraying our own country. Fighting imperialism is a matter of saving our country. Thank you.
I look for him on the internet.
Next speaker is New Communist Party of Yugoslavia.
Dear comrades, just 26 years ago, NATO bombed Yugoslavia. We gathered here to protest and demonstrate against the NATO bombing which will be held in Hague. The Hague holds an international criminal tribunal unjustly targeted the anti-imperialists, therefore blaming Serbs for everything that happened in Yugoslav wars. The violent destruction of Yugoslavia and the bombing of Yugoslavia were direct consequence of aggressive imperialism, displacing many Serbs as a consequence. NATO used prohibited weapons like depleted uranium, which plague our people even today. All of the people of former Yugoslavia are victims because we share an idea, we share a state, and it is now destroyed. And EU, NATO are now installing puppet governments and binding nations to NATO and EU. Today, Kosovo and Metohija, our southern province, remains under NATO occupation, holding largest NATO base in Balkans. We demand the end to this pressure against our people and all refugees to return to their homes in Kosovo, in Gaza, in the whole world. The UN vote on Srebrenica, where more nations opposed or abstained, shows that widespread rejection and hypocrisy is present today. Comrades, we face a contradictory world. A third world war will be unleashed by imperialism. The world strives towards a dangerous nuclear conflict driven by Western imperialism. Their military support for fascist regimes like ones in Ukraine and ones in Israel are driving us to nuclear war. In the Middle East, the Zionist regime commits genocide, worsening living conditions and lobbying for aggression, with Iran as their most recent target. We stand in solidarity with the people of Iran, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria and Yemen in their struggle against imperialism and for national liberation. USA, NATO and EU, willing to fight Russia, are sacrificing Ukrainian lives, escalating the conflict. Criminal blockades and sanctions are being imposed on anti-imperialist nations like Cuba and Venezuela. In East Asia, the US promotes aggression against China and the DPRK. We, the youth of the World Anti-Imperialist Platform, must fight against imperialist forces fueling Third World War. We must oppose this NATO summit, stand in unveiled solidarity with anti-imperialist states like PRK, China, Russia, Venezuela, Cuba and Iran. We will expose imperialist lies and speak truth, rising against the profit from war, the division they push against us and the conflicts they push us in. The anti-imperialist camp will prevail against the warmongering imperialists and their fascist puppets. Long live the anti-imperialist struggle. Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
Disband NATO!
Next speech is Revolutionary Unification from Greece.
Ja.
Hello, comrades. Today, in the midst of World War III, right after a new front has erupted, the plan can be run and its swift. We are here to oppose the predatory band of NATO, the imperialist alliance led by the USA, and its gambit to eliminate any resistance to its waning dominance, to dismantle every anti-imperialist and socialist country in the world. The NATO summit is where the imperialists devise their plans before another cowardly attack, before another nation is thrown into a fight for survival, before we're one step closer to the total nuclear annihilation of humanity. 52 years ago in Greece, the students revolted against the US-backed dictatorship and barricaded themselves in the building of the Polytechnic University under the slogan, USA out, NATO out. They kept chanting slogans and singing defiantly up to the moment when the tank rammed the Iron Gate, ending the blockade with bloodshed. Just as this brutal act of repression signified the beginning of the end for the colonels, the current acts of imperialist aggression and proxy warfare can only delay and not postpone the inevitable demise of the imperialist system. We, the anti-imperialist youth, and the global anti-imperialist forces must dismantle the parasitic machine of imperialism led by the USA, turn this World War III into a war that will crush imperialism and the axis of aggression. It is our duty to work towards the goals of the World Anti-Imperialist Platform that can unify the anti-imperialist forces into a militant front capable of taking the strategic initiative and eradicating the global imperialist system of exploitation that has been siphoning super profits from the dependent and semi-independent countries of the world so that the people can pave the road unhindered towards socialism and communism. Thank you.
Disband NATO.
Disband NATO.
Next speaker is Struggle Union from Turkey.
Thank you very much, comrades. Friends, comrades, we are gathered here today to demand of disbandment of war organization. A provocation machine, NATO, that brings nothing but blood, pride, and death to humanity. Today here, we are carrying out historical duty that deeply concerns all of humanity. Because calling for the end of the NATO is not as simple about ending an organization that has lost its purpose. It is about ending a force that has brought war, destruction, and death of every corner of the world. From East Asia to Latin America, from the North Sea to South Africa. NATO was founded as a war organization. It was created to stand against the Soviet Union and the Red Army who defeated fascism. It was established to oppose those who, after fighting fascism and winning their freedom and independence, choose the path of socialism. Today, imperialists are the cause and part of the bloody war in Ukraine against the Russian Federation. NATO stands behind the neo-Nazi regime in Ukraine, pushing humanity to the edge of the nuclear war. NATO is directly involved through its officers, weapons, intelligence system, and the organization it's managing the war itself. NATO is not only destroying lives through wars, it's also dragging us, the workers and the poor, into deeper poverty and hunger. NATO demands that member states spend 5% of their budgets on weapons, transferring hundreds of billions of euros to arms companies. If this money were used for the well-being of the people, there would be no homeless, no jobless, no one living in poverty across Europe. But we know that this imperialist governments will never prioritize the people, because it's not in their nature, because it goes against the interest of those who truly rule them. Friends, comrades, another world is possible. The world we want is one without exploitation, war, hunger, and misery. A world where no one is homeless or unemployed. We want real democratic peace, a world without war, where no children, women, elderly, or young people are killed. We want a world where we can live free like a single tree and brotherly like a forest. And such a world is possible. Humanity is not condemned to a world ruled by warlords, arms companies, and multi-billionaires, or to a world where NATO spreads blood and death everywhere. Yes, another world is possible. We can realize it real through our struggle. We know those who profit from wars and exploitation will not exist just because we want them to. But we are the 99% majority. We are the ones who build, create, grow, and sustain life. If we stop working for one day, everything will stop. There is no life without us. But without them, without NATO, life would be more beautiful, more peaceful, more livable. Once again, we say, disband NATO.
Disband NATO.
Disband NATO.
Disband NATO.
Next, the speech from Communist Party Marxist Kenya will be read on their behalf. Dear comrades, revolutionaries and peoples in struggle, warm military greetings from the Communist Party Marxist Kenya. Let no one be confused. NATO is not a defensive pact. NATO is a war cartel. It exists not to protect the people, but to crush them. It does not defend democracy. It imposes dictatorship by other means. The dictatorship of capital, the dictatorship of empire, the dictatorship of the dollar. NATO waged war not only with bombs and soldiers, but with the World Bank, with the CIA, with cultural propaganda and the military bases. It upheld apartheid. It trained fascists. It financed coups. It shielded capture from revolution. Comrades, the CPMK rejected the false narrative that Europe is sovereign and free. Europe is occupied. U.S. troops remain stationed across the continent. American nuclear weapons are stored under European soil. The economic policies of the U.S., EU are subordinated to NATO's military doctrine. The so-called rules-based international order is nothing more than U.S.-dictated neo-colonialism enforced by European intermediates. In Kenya today, we host U.S. military forces not by the will of the people, but by the dictate of the comparativism. Our land is used to launch drone strikes. Our data is harvested. Our skies are not ours. This is occupation in everything but name. The Communist Party Marxist Kenya calls for the dismantling of NATO and AFRICOM, the complete withdrawal of foreign troops from American soil, the national liberations of military infrastructure in Kenya under people's control, the expulsion of all impressed agencies operating under humanitarian cover, the unification of anti-imperialist forces across continents into a militant front of workers, peasants, youth, and oppressed nations. Our voice is here, standing with the flags of struggle, standing with the red banner, standing with the World Anti-Imperialist platform. To the workers of Europe, we say your enemy is not in Africa, Asia, or Latin America. Your enemy is the bourgeoisie in Brussels, in London, in Washington. To the peoples of the South, we say your liberation will not come from NATO states, but from united struggle. To the youth, we say build the future, not with the hashtags, but with revolution. And to the imperialists, we say your time is up. Down with NATO! Down with NATO! Down with AFRICOM! Down with AFRICOM! Down with imperialism! Down with imperialism! Long live the struggling peoples of the world! Long live the struggling peoples of the world! Long live the World Anti-Imperialist platform! Long live the World Anti-Imperialist platform! Long live proletariat internationalism! Long live proletariat internationalism! Socialism or death! We shall win! We shall win! Next, the special statement on Iran will be read.
Let us crush the war schemes of imperialists and Zionists. The Zionists have crossed the red line. On June 13th, Israeli Zionists targeted Iran's nuclear facility in Natanz as their primary strike objective. They assassinated numerous military leaders and the key nuclear scientists, massacred civilians, including children. The following day, they bombed Sopar gas field, the largest in the world, targeting Iran's vital energy sector. The Israeli operation, codenamed Rising Lion, appears to signal plans for the further acts of aggression. Under the orchestrated and support of imperialist powers, the war hysteria of the Israeli Zionists has reached its peak. On June 11, 2025, Zionist war criminals have massacred approximately 55,100 Palestinians since the onset of the Palestine War in October 2023. In September 2024, they focused their attacks on Hezbollah, and in December, they overthrew the anti-American regime in Syria.
Israel has also continued to provoke tensions with Iran, which including a major terrorist attack during January 2024 memorial rally for Soleimani, the commander of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The bombing of Iranian consulate in Syria in April, and the assassination of Hamas political chief Ismail Khamenei in July. There are no questions who is trying to initiate and expand war in the West Asia. Iran has made unequivocally clear that it will refrain from retaliation if Israel halts its attacks. This strategic restraint is a calculated effort to avoid entanglement in Israel's war provocations while simultaneously keeping diplomatic negotiations alive. In West Asia, as Israel intensifies its war drive, Iran remains committed to preventing conflict. Only the media controlled by imperialist forces, which are behind the Zionists, distort the truth by reversing black and white. The Israeli Zionists are not only the perpetrators of the Palestinian issue, but also the main culprits behind the war in the Western Asia. As long as Zionism in Israel is not dismantled, the liberation of Palestine and peace in the Western Asia will remain impossible. The storm of the World War III, unleashed by imperialism, is now blowing from Eastern Europe through West Asia, the Middle East, towards East Asia. NATO's eastward expansion policy has reached beyond the Mediterranean, the Persian Gulf, the Indian Ocean to the Pacific. The expansion of NATO to Pacific was completed through its political preparations and at the NATO summit in Washington in July 2024, and its military preparation were finalized through joint military exercises such as RIMPAC from June to August. Following this, imperialism escalated provocations of localized conflict on a global scale, such as invasion of Kurds in Russia, concentrated attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the drone attacks in DPRK. It is not coincidence that the lifting of long-range missiles restriction against Russia, the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria, and attempted military coup in the Republic of Korea occur one after the other. We demand the immediate cessation of all US imperialist and Zionist war maneuvers. The Israeli Zionists must stop bombings and killings in Gaza and Lebanon and leave the region immediately. Imperialism, particularly that of the US, is using Israeli Zionists as the war machine to expand the war in West Asia and is attempting to provoke a war in the East Asia, which could escalate into World War III. This campaign must be halted immediately. The united and awakened people of the world will defeat the war machine of imperialism and Zionism and usher the world of peace, sovereignty and people's democracy. Smash the imperialist war drive. Down with imperialism. Liberate Palestine. Victory for the anti-imperialist struggle. June 21st, 2025, World Anti-Imperialist Platform.
Let's chant together. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Stop bombing Iran!
Stop bombing Iran!
Stop bombing Iran!
Stop bombing Iran!
Next, the Hague joint statement will be read. The dismantling of NATO, the imperialist war headquarters, is an urgent and critical task facing all of humanity today. After the Second World War, as the imperialist forces were facing a systemic crisis, they formed NATO under US leadership. Through wars of aggression against newly independent nations, the US and NATO committed ruthless acts of exploitation, plunder, and mass killing. From the very beginning, NATO championed anti-USSR and anti-socialist agendas, accelerating its expansionist policy, particularly in 1955 by pushing into West Germany and formulating nuclear strike plans against the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, thereby escalating the threat of war. NATO's barbarism became even more apparent after the counter-revolution in the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe. Faced with what should have been its own dissolution, NATO instead charged ahead, manufacturing ethnic conflicts and territorial disputes in Central and Eastern Europe to justify its eastward expansion right up to Russia's borders. NATO's expansion to the east broke its own 1990 promise of no NATO expansion eastward and was one of the key provocations leading to the outbreak of the Ukraine war in 2022. Since the end of World War II, there has been no war without the involvement or instigation of the USA and NATO. The sheer brutality of NATO was laid bare in its 1999 bombing of Kosovo. Beginning on the 24th of March 1999, airstrikes killed 500 civilians and injured 4,500 within just 2 months. NATO dropped over 10,000 bombs on Yugoslavia, some with destructive power exceeding that of the atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. Reports published in August 1999 revealed that around 4,000 people in Kosovo and 2,000 more in Serbia had been massacred in these attacks. Under the US's doctrine of the so-called war on terror, NATO's killing machine continued its rampage. NATO was deployed following the USA's invasion of Afghanistan in October 2001. Over the next 20 years, the region was engulfed in unending conflict and mass killings, resulting in at least 170,000 deaths and over 5 million people displaced. When war broke out in Libya in February 2011, NATO launched around 7,500 airstrikes in 5 months, with a total of 20,000 sorties. Within just 2 months of these attacks, over 4,700 civilians had been killed or wounded. Even after the fall of the Gaddafi government, NATO continued to expand its military presence and carry out indiscriminate bombing in Libya. Now, under the conditions of an impending Third World War, NATO, the war machine and instrument of massacres, is completing its pacificization and expanding its theatre of war across the region. Since the Ukraine war began in 2022, NATO member states have escalated military incursions into the Pacific, conducting aggressive exercises that threaten China, the DPRK, and Russia. In the summer of 2024, NATO-led multilateral drills such as RIMPAC, Pitch Black, Pacific Skies and Pacific Dragon were staged in the Pacific, pushing regional tensions to the brink. At the NATO summit held in Washington during the same period last year, the plan for the pacificization of NATO was laid out. The USA and NATO have designated East Asia and the Western Pacific as their next battlefield, following Eastern Europe and West Asia. This NATO summit at The Hague reflects the imperialist powers' desperation. The continuation of the war in Ukraine demonstrates the depth of the system's crisis, which cannot be overcome without war. A principal item on the agenda concerns the proposed increase in NATO contributions. European NATO member countries are looking to raise their defence spending significantly to 5% of GDP. The European people are already suffering a deep crisis in their economy and the people's livelihoods, made worse by the war in Ukraine. Yet the European imperialist heinous plan is to plunder even more of the people's hard-earned money and funnel it into a war to try to save their system. With hundreds of NATO military bases, Europe is the centre and launch base of NATO's aggressions. As World War III escalates, these regional NATO bases, where NATO has laid its roots and established its headquarters, will increasingly function as active bases of war. NATO's Allied Joint Force Command, headquartered in Brussels, Netherlands, is spearheading the anti-Russian operation Baltic Sentry, placing the local population at great risk of retaliatory fire. US imperialism and NATO, which have already deployed tactical nuclear weapons in Italy, Germany and other places in Europe, are now openly threatening the survival of both the European and global peoples by declaring their readiness to wage nuclear war against Russia and, of course, now against Iran. Dismantling NATO is a vital necessity for people everywhere, a necessary first step in defending their right to live in peace and dignity. The European people's anti-NATO struggle is united with the anti-imperialist and anti-fascist struggles of all oppressed nations and peoples, including the Palestinian liberation struggle, as part of a global anti-imperialist front. Proletarians of the world unite, and the people united will never be defeated are slogans that must mobilize the progressive people of the world. Only through the unity and determined struggle of the anti-imperialist masses can NATO, the command center of World War III, be dismantled. Can imperialism, its principal instigator, be overthrown? And can the peace, independence, liberation and revolution of the peoples of the world be achieved? We, in the World Anti-Imperialist Platform, solemnly pledge to put ourselves at the forefront of this historic struggle, without concession and without retreat, until the day NATO is dismantled and imperialism is finally defeated. Disband NATO, the imperialist war command. Defeat the imperialist aggressors. Victory to the anti-imperialist liberation struggle. Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO! Disband NATO!
Now we end with the demonstration with the international. Only the first verse will be sung. Before that, disband NATO! Disband!